Welcome to The Real Generation Gap. I'm Rudy Ruiz.
I'm Fred Sotilli.
And today we're going to discuss Meet Joe Black from 1998, starring Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins, and Claire Forlani. I guess this would fit maybe the romantic comedy drama genre. It's a little bit of all of that. And it follows Anthony Hopkins, William Parrish, a kind of media mogul type figure, I would say, very wealthy. And he's on his way out. And when he gets visited by Death, who wants him to kind of show him around and give him the experiences of life, Death takes over the body of a young man. I forgot his name, but it's Brad Pitt. And romance and drama ensue as he kind of gets his way into the family and develops a relationship with Anthony Hopkins, William Parrish's daughter. And this was your pick. A 3-hour movie.
Oh, yeah. Worth every minute. Every minute.
I want to say, too, so I did see this at one point when I was younger. I didn't see it when it initially came out, but maybe when I was in college, like quite a while later. And I remember liking it enough at the time. I don't remember why I watched it, and I didn't remember it being 3 hours, but I think it is paced pretty well. It doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie, you know. I do think that there are some some scenes that go on long for sure. Like there's a lot of dialogue scenes where it'll be over the shoulder, like your most basic coverage.
Right.
And it's a very long time, you know, but yet somehow, and that's me being critical as I'm watching it, but somehow I will say, even despite that, I feel that it's paced very well. It's entertaining all the way through. And there's a really great performance from Brad Pitt as well.
Yeah, incredible performance by Brad Pitt, especially when he does the Cajun talking. Mm-hmm. But the reason that you have those slow dialogues is his delivery. Part of his character is the really thoughtful delivery, you know, and the one-word answers. So Anthony Hopkins would say, well, you know, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And how do you think this went or whatever? And he'll go, I liked it. And the gravity of that, because he embodies death. Mm-hmm. So Anthony Hopkins, the deal with the devil is Brad Pitt appears and says, I'm the incarnation. I needed a human body, but I am, you know, the spirit of death. And you're going to die now. But you're going to get more time as long as you entertain me, as long as you're fascinating, because you have a fascinating life. You're a guy. You're a big deal. So he says, as long as I'm engaged, I'm going to keep you alive. At a certain point, I'm going to become tired of you, and I'm just going to throw the switch, right? So now Anthony Hopkins is faced with the devil in the deep blue sea, right? He wants to keep everything going, but he doesn't really, because he knows he's going to die. So you and I don't know when we're going to die, so we don't measure what we do.
Right.
But now, because he knows that he's going to die soon, he's got a young man who's a real go-getter who wants to merge his media company with another media company. And Anthony Hopkins is okay with doing this, but when he finds out he's going to die, now he doesn't want to, because he wants the company to be his pure creation when he dies, and then after he dies, they can take it apart and do whatever they want. You know how mergers and acquisitions are, right? They take everything, the assets, they go crazy. So he decides that he wants to stay intact. He doesn't want to do the deal that day. It's really that day. The board is going to vote on this. And he says, no, we're not doing it. Now the young man is angry. Well, we don't realize that the young man is playing both sides of the table here, and he's got a lot to gain. Normally, he would just say, all right, well, we don't have to do it. You know, but he's like, oh, no, he's got everything invested. He's gonna launch himself into superstardom when he makes this deal. He's gonna make a fortune, right? And now the deal's going bad. This story, let me say this, the amount of very high quality acting in this movie is more than in every Marvel movie and in every DC movie all put together. The direction on this, directing Brad Pitt must have been an amazing thing. The screenplay was done by 4 guys. This wasn't some quick and dirty writing thing. This movie needed 3 hours because the amount of drama, the amount of scenes the intensity of these characters. Claire Forlani, holy mackerel, what a performance. And she doesn't have other giant parts. You know, she doesn't have a big filmography, at least that I know.
Yeah,
of.
Mallrats.
What Mallrats? Oh my! That incredible, beautiful goddess with that delivery. What
is beautiful.
What a performance by her.
Yeah,
you know, and beautiful and in a regular girl way. Mm-hmm. You know, she's just a lady doctor, girl next door. You know, intellectual. Father was a giant mogul. She went her own way. The actress playing the part. Her acting is amazing because she is also measured the way Brad Pitt is measured and Anthony Hopkins is measured. Anthony Hopkins is considering the chess game of the next few days in everything that he does. And she is, and Brad Pitt is. Everybody's trying to figure out who each other are. Now, one of the tricks in the movie is Brad Pitt, as a young man, hits on her in a diner. And he's just a real nice young guy, handsome guy, hitting on a beautiful girl in the diner. But she doesn't realize immediately after that meeting, he's killed in this wild car wreck. An amazingly shocking scene.
Yeah.
Then death inhabits his body. But death doesn't know that they had just had this moment together. You know, so when she sees him, it's like, it's you. But it's not him. It's a completely different embodiment. And she's trying to figure out, who is this guy? The only person who knows is Anthony Hopkins. The young man who's the go-getter, he's trying to figure out, who is this guy? Because this guy is pulling the strings on Anthony Hopkins, and no one can do that. Anthony Hopkins is really his own man, this giant mogul who's called all the shots his whole life. And now he's got a shadow that's telling him what to do, and he's doing it? What? And now his beautiful daughter she met the real gregarious, outgoing guy. He was very, very sexy and engaging, you know, and now he's not because it's not him. And now it's death doesn't know how to romance a girl. He knows how to kill one, doesn't know how to romance one. Probably better off. So everybody just wants to know what's going on the whole time. It's sensational. The directing in this, it's supernatural. You know, the acting's a big a result of the directing, you know, but Brad Pitt is just so charming. And man, the way he plays that character, I'm sure other actors could do it, but man, just the combination of his ability and what he had to do, it's a part of a lifetime. This is why I recommended this movie. This is my favorite. I'm a huge Brad Pitt fan. You know, I love the one where he goes in the Himalayas. You know, he's the German guy who goes into the Himalayas. I don't know if you've seen that, but you need to. It's really sensational. But he's a young actor in this, and he does a role of a lifetime. Like, he's never going to do another greater. This ain't Fight Club, you know? And, of course, Anthony Hopkins is just Hannibal Lecter, you know? The movie is great in every way, and there's no special effects. There's no real violence. The romance is really different. Every relationship, and when I talk about these relationships, you know, I'm not real good with faces. So when I see Jeffrey Tambor, I think he's Dr. Phil. You know, the people who know me know that I can't spot everybody. It's like, who the heck? I know that guy. But one of the great things that happens in this movie is Jeffrey Tambor is kind of the comic relief, like the Fredo Corleone, like the kind of dopey guy. He married her sister, the other rich girl. He married into this incredible wealthy family, but he's not of that caliber really. He's just a real nice dopey guy. But because he's the real dopey guy, he's able to con the young go-getter into making the wrong move because the young go-getter doesn't suspect in a million years that he's being played by the dopey guy. And that's a nuance of the movie. That's great writing, you know? And I really appreciated that. When that moment comes, Jeffrey Tambor goes to Anthony Hopkins, goes, I got him. Anthony Hopkins says, he'll never come here. He says, I'll get him here. So he's going to play, you know, like in Usual Suspects, where, you know, the guy who's the cripple is the mastermind, right? So he does a mastermind moment. He redeems himself, and it's just so great. Everything. Now you mentioned in your intro that the movie there's a few moments where it might get a little long, but for me the ending got a little bit long. Then in the end it was worth it. You know, it was like, well, that should have ended it right now when the two of them are going up the stairs off into the sunset. I thought she's watching. She knows what's going to happen now. I thought when they walked up those stairs that they were going to walk down and they would disappear that way. And that would be a nice, clean ending. But when it wasn't, I was like, oh, they blew the nice, clean ending. But 4 guys wrote this thing and one of them really came through with a whole nother layer of great endings. So love this movie. What are some of your observations? I went a little long, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, so Martin Brest directed this.
Right.
Also directed another fan favorite, Geely, starring Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. Just kidding. He did direct that, but I hear it's pretty bad. I've never seen it. But Midnight Run, Son of a Woman, and Beverly Hills Cop. Those are some good ones there. So same director. Emmanuel Lubezki actually shot this movie, which was very cool to me. And I always forget that because as I'm watching, I do like the cinematography. It's nothing out of this world, but his quality of light on each of the characters is just really great. And for me being a camera guy, I key into that. In the introduction of Joe Black or Death, when you're hearing his voice in the study and Anthony Hopkins is there and this light comes on past this like textured glass and he's like kind of behind there and slowly coming over to eventually reveal himself, I thought was so cool and brilliant and looked neat and was like a good just visual representation of this
a real manifestation.
Coming into the world, as opposed to he walks in and like, oh, Brad Pitt's right there.
He just started as a voice.
Yeah.
And it was like, who's talking to me? And then there was a light. And then the light started to take shape. The shape got clearer and clearer until finally he steps out fully manifested.
Yeah.
And that was a great way to sort of beam down from the ship.
Yeah.
But real organically.
Yeah. That was really
cool. I love
cool.
that aspect too. I'm glad you remembered that.
Yeah, really well done. So yeah, Chivo shot this, so that's cool. He would eventually go on to win, I think, 3 cinematography Oscars in a row within the last decade or so. And music by Thomas Newman. I do love the score for this. And, Joe Black kind of has his own little theme that has this kind of mysterious sound to it. Thomas Newman always coming through with good scores. And yeah, I mean, I like the characters too. I think the acting and everything is great. I think everybody is on point. Anthony Hopkins is understated, I think, in just the right way. And I do like these themes of, when he's first talking to his daughter in the helicopter. I don't remember the lines exactly, but, when you're with Drew, like, I just want somebody to, I don't remember. There's like a certain word he uses, like a spark, love, like
lightning.
Like there's these themes in there, and we kind of get that she has that moment with Brad Pitt in the diner, but they're both trying to. Well, he's going for it. She's kind of trying to back off from it because she has the other dude. But based on what her father was saying, he's like, oh, this might. This
the magic was happening.
Yeah, this is it. Maybe
and she's trying to resist the magic because she's a rich girl who's going to marry the rich guy who her father likes, who's a business associate. Everything is going to play out just as it should, like in the grand plan. But Anthony Hopkins wanted romance for her, not practical marriage.
Yeah.
He says, you got to be on fire. You got to be hit by a bolt of lightning. You got to be starving for that guy, and he's got to be starving for you. And the two of you, she and Drew, they're just gonna kind of commingle.
Yeah.
They're not gonna ever have that super heavy romance that Anthony Hopkins had with his own wife.
Yes. And
it's great that he says, if you haven't ever had this, you haven't lived. He goes, it's a wasted life if you don't ever experience this kind of a thing. So she's thinking about it.
And I like when they butt heads, Parrish and Joe Black. It bothers me on one end because there's a lot of moments where Joe Black is like kind of an asshole. He has this attitude and it pisses me off. I just hate people like that. But it makes sense in that, well, he's this kind of all powerful. He's like, don't make me mad. You know, I can wrap this up anytime I want. That's not verbatim, but you know, he's got this power. And I like when, you know, Parrish finally gets to this point where he's like, I don't care about any of that. I'm going to tell you what's up. This is what it is. Yeah, I'm talking back to you. You can do whatever you're going to do. When he has to explain to him, like, you can't take my daughter, because eventually they do develop the relationship. And now Joe Black, Death, is in love with the daughter. So he tells Parrish, like, hey, I'm going to take her with us because she loves me. I love her. And I'm going to do whatever the heck I want. In these scenes, this dialogue is very, I just love it when Hopkins is, you know, explaining kind of the love thing. And it's like, no, that's just possession. Like, you don't love her. You don't even know. This is just
what love
flavor
is.
of the week right now.
Like, if you really did love her, you wouldn't take her.
Exactly.
He says, so you don't know what you're talking about.
Susan's my daughter. She has a wonderful life ahead of her. You're going to deprive her of it, and you're telling me you're sorry? Well, I'm sorry. Apology not accepted.
I don't care, Bill. I love her.
I'm perfect for you. To take whatever you want because it pleases you. It's not love.
What is it?
Some aimless infatuation in which, for the moment, you feel like indulging. It's missing everything that matters.
Which is what?
Trust, responsibility, taking the weight for your choices and feelings and spending the rest of your life living up to them. And above all, not hurting the object of your love.
So that's what love is, according to William Parrish?
Multiply it by infinity and take it to the depth of forever, and you will still have barely a glimpse of what I'm talking about.
Those were my words.
They're mine now.
Bill, Susan wants to come with me. She loves me.
She loves you? Who is you? Did you tell her who you are?
No.
Does she know where she's going? Huh? See, Susan went whatever way she did for that poor son of a bitch whose body you took, and everything else since has been aftermath. You say you love her, but you don't know what love is. She loves you, but she doesn't know who you are. You make a deal, you're breaking it. Bottom line is, Joe, you're swindling her soul, and you're doing it with your eyes wide open.
I don't like what you're saying.
I'm past caring what you like and what you don't like. You're stealing my daughter, and I'm not going to let you.
You're not going to let me?
No, I'm not going to let you.
Are you threatening me?
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Yeah. I loved Susan from the moment she was born, and I love her now and every minute in between. And what I dream of is a man who will discover her, and that she will discover a man who will love her, who is worthy of her, who's of this world, of this time, and has the grace and compassion and fortitude to walk beside her as she makes her way through this beautiful thing called life. Enough!
What I know is what I want. And what I want is Susan. And I will have her, and she will have me, and that's the way it's going to be. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Why did you come in here and tell me all this, Joe? You're the big shot, you're the biggest shot of all. You don't have to ask my permission, but that's what you're doing. Do you know why? Because you've somewhere, somehow developed into a good guy, and you know this is all wrong. I don't know what you're going to do, but, how can this be love? She doesn't know who you are. Why didn't you tell her? Try it out on her. See what happens. Reveal everything there is to know about yourself and let the chips fall where they may.
And see, that's what you're talking about is so great. It's the greatest aspect of the movie. Brad Pitt is all powerful. He never has to compromise. Mm-hmm. He never has to raise his voice. They have to wait till he speaks. Everybody, you know, and there does come a point where Anthony Hopkins gets to get loud. He gets to turn and go, no, now you're wrong. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have to learn that you're wrong. Mm-hmm. And you're here to experience life, what it's like to be a person. You've inhabited a body, and you don't know the world you're in. And the Jamaican woman is so good with that, too. You know, those people that practice voodoo and Santeria, they have this relationship with death and the dead. So she's a sick old lady in the hospital, and she sees him, and she recognizes that is death. And she says, you don't belong here. You're in the wrong world. You don't belong here, you know? Mm. And he's busted. She's like has the supernatural ability because of her faith. She can see the embodiment of death. he realizes that there's more going on there. And when he does want to, make love with the mortal girl and everything like that, but Anthony Hopkins tells him that's not what love is. You would never do this. You're not experiencing love. You think you are. You said you love her, but you don't. He says, I have a lifetime of this from the minute she was born till now. This is a momentary infatuation. He says, you're wrong, man. Like, dude, kill me if you want, but you're wrong, and you got to learn that you're wrong.
Yeah.
And he goes, and the horrible part for you, and there's a Star Trek episode where this happens too. He says, the horrible part for you is that now that you're in the human body, you're actually becoming a nice guy. You're death. You're the killer, right? But you're softening. The emotions are irresistible to you. And you experience this emotion that you think is love, but you have to experience empathy and mercy and all this kind of stuff. And this is heavy for him to deal with. It's like, well, maybe he's right. What am I doing? What should I be doing? Well, I am a little different now. His arrogance starts to wane, and Anthony Hopkins gets to yell at him, and that's like a dynamite part of the movie,
Yeah.
So there's so much of that in it. There's so much good writing, so much philosophy. A lot of thought went into those dialogues. Every one is heavy and philosophical. Just watching her try to deal with the unknown. She's falling in love with a guy who's got no backstory, no history. He won't tell her anything. Her father won't tell her anything, but she's getting deeper and deeper. Women love the bad boy, right? So, she's got every minute of their relationship, and she says, "Who are you?" And he says, I'm Joe. That's just a no answer, right? And then she says, Are you gonna stay with me? He says, I'm here now. It's horrible. And she's dealing with it. And she's an intellectual. She's a doctor. She's a scientist. She could think, right? It's awesome. Those characters are awesome. And the ancillary, Drew, the young go-getter, he's a fantastic character. And even her sister who's planning the party, and Jeffrey Tambor, they're all, man, oh man.
I did somehow feel that I wanted a little more from kind of the final dialogue between, Father Parrish and the other daughter, played by Marcia Gay Harden. I forgot her name in the movie. Yeah. But the one setting up the party, and they do establish and show, and they have a scene where they talk about how, she was aware of the fact that growing up, he was maybe a little more fond of the Claire Forlani kid.
It's okay to have a favorite. It's okay to have a favorite, she tells him.
Yeah, and that gives, some insights, because she is so obsessed with making them happy. And here's 4 different cakes from the fanciest cake place. Like, she cares more about the money and all this stuff in this fancy party than he does. He doesn't give a damn about any of it. He's just like, oh, man, I don't even like this stuff. And so she's like compensating, I suppose, and all that.
Yes.
And
she's trying to live up to her sister who became the surgeon. Right? Yeah. She's an internist.
They do have a good kind of their final dialogue together, but I would have liked a little more out of that. I think, I do like that last scene between Joe and Claire Forlani. I think is really great, and her like really wanting to take the leap of faith with him. And when you see, again,
this is a real good no spoiler. This is a real good no spoiler movie. Yeah, like the end.
But just going into his performance, when he's not speaking, and you've already kind of said this before, when he's not speaking, and we're seeing him kind of work it out in his head, right? Think it through, but you can read so much from his expression, and I think that is just really well done.
Yeah, between the acting and the directing Brad Pitt must have been an incredible. It's a unique movie that way.
Sorry, I wonder. I'd be curious how much of it is
right.
How much of it was directed in terms of what the character had to be from the director's point of view versus. Did Brad Pitt just come in and like, all right, this is my idea and how I'm going to do it? And did he just play it the way he wanted or what? I'd be curious to kind of see that, what the process was. Because I do think Yeah, Brad Pitt turns in a great performance here.
But was it a method acting performance, or was he directed? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and not even necessarily method, but just, because there's so many different ways to collaborate. It's like, did the director give him specifically every little detail and nuance he wanted, or was it, all right, Brad Pitt, here's the character, I'm going to trust you to, bring yourself to it and do what you're going to do. Everyone works a little bit differently. And I think he really shows some good chops in this. And I'm trying to think what he was in prior to this movie. I think Seven was before this. True Romance, even though he only had a bit part. Obviously, the Gina Davis and Thelma and Louise. Obviously, that movie. I'm trying to think what else.
I think that was really his first.
Like, what other kind of starring roles he had before this? Because I feel like this must have been one of the... maybe this was a turning point in his career.
See if you can find the movie where he goes to the Himalayas.
Oh,
my phone's off.
I don't know. He was in that Interview with the Vampire, Legends of the Fall. Okay, that's right. 12 Monkeys. He was in a lot.
Yeah.
7 years in Tibet, 97.
7 years.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so right before the year before.
He did this. He did 7 years in
7
Tibet
years.
before this.
Was the year before Joe Black.
Right.
And then Fight Club and Snatch and all that was afterwards.
Right.
All right, yeah. So yeah, I think Brad Pitt turns in a really great performance in this.
I think coming off of 7 years in Tibet and then doing this, I think he was that's another long movie, and rightly so. 7 years, right? It's such a unique character. The slow, measured delivery. It's really a unique character. And he really does a good job of it.
And with a lot of humor, but not going over the top to deliver it. It's just kind of there's a lot of humor in his naivete of being new on Earth, like the peanut butter and
right.
Just going into the boardroom and like, oh, should I get you a tea and milk too? And he's like, yeah, actually, that'd be cool. Thanks for the cookies.
Thank you for the cookies.
Like all that. So I do like the humor that's in there, but that's a little more, I guess, organic is what people, the right word.
That character, when he does that stuff, that frustrates everybody even more.
Yeah.
Because he's the shot caller.
Right.
And he's, he wants the cookies.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I think everybody really needs to watch this movie. I think it's a masterpiece on many levels. Being that we just, we reviewed Superman a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, however long. And like I said in the beginning of this, there's more acting in this movie. There's more writing. There's more better story development and everything in concept than in there's 100 movies you could block together that wouldn't be as good as this one movie. The amount and quality of acting by these actors and the writing that, every aspect of that, it's really something special. At least is my favorite of all of Brad Pitt's work is this. And that's why I wanted you to watch it again, and I'm glad you did. Yeah, no,
I'm glad I saw it again. I certainly think it's worth watching if you've never seen it before. It's just a good kind of classic.
It's called
movie,
Meet Joe Black, just for everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even realize I got a alternate. My bad, everybody.
Hey,
sorry, I've been
Jose Black.
I've been running on fumes,
Jose Negro,
and just hanging by a thread. So my apologies for that.
Thank you all for watching The Real Generation Gap. I hope you watch this movie. I really want you to appreciate Rudy Ruiz and his talent and skills. And we're going to do lots more. After we do these reviews, it spawns other movies that we then want to see. Something will happen and we'll see an actor in this one, and then all of a sudden everything that he's done, we want to see all the rest of his, or a director or a filmmaker or anything, even a soundtrack guy. If you're a John Williams fan, you want to see everything he made, right? So anyway, thanks again. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.